So hello, welcome back to Suzerain. I am very bright. There we go. Just tone it down a little bit. So, where are we currently? Economy still unstable. We're at -4 on the budget. Just a little bit of debt. A little bit of debt never hurt anybody, okay? Remember that. If you're watching the stream right now, go get a new credit card. Anyway, what's going on around the world? Remember last time we read all the news? The Green Rural Development Plan, brainchild of the Rural Development Minister Gus Manager, is nearing completion. Hull Sword. Strategy aims to revitalize the rural economy, fortify food security, enhance regional economy. Great. We love to see it. We don't need to worry about the foundation, at least not quite yet. But we do have some stuff going on in the rest of the world. So let's go see what's going on out there. So, CSP advocates dissolution of the MEF teams ITZ. The CSP has called for the dissolution of the MEF-Time International Trade Zone. The strategic location in Moreland territory and complemented by a strategically vital port has been a joint venture of Rizian, Morelian, Lesbian, and Vegland state corporations since the pre-revolutionary era. Yet this recent ascension of Alma Sultana to the premiership of Morella has sparked a seismic shift in this arrangement. With staunch backing from Vagland, Prime Minister Sultana has declared his intentions to nationalize the mines and port, a move that potentially upends the status quo and alters the trajectory of the region's economic future. This move directly challenges the interests of Rizian Royal Gold and, by extension, King Romas Torres of Rizia. The announcement drew immediate attention from Lesbia's Prime Minister Alvarez and ATO Stalwart, who firmly expressed his commitment to maintaining the current free market practices, heightening the tension between the two blocs. Okay, what else do we got going on? What's going on in the ATO? So the ATO convened a pivotal summit in Perla, bringing together leaders and economic experts from member nations to address global economic development and strategic responses. Discussions centered on the economic framework of Arcasian capitalism and lesbian protectionism within the alliance. Arcasian capitalism, characterized by a market-oriented reform policies, deregulation, and privatization, maintains a strong performance across ATO nations with an average GDP growth rate of 9.7% over the past decade, despite the inflation rate of 4.6% in the last year. The lesbian model, while preserving market principles, implements strategic protective measures through tariffs and targeted trade barriers, achieving an inflation rate of 1.8% and a GDP growth of 6.1%. The summit facilitated integration discussion between these economic systems, while respecting Lesbia's firm stance on maintaining its distinct economic measures. This strategic dialogue addressed the CSP's expanding influence through state-owned enterprises, driven investment strategies across developing and emerging nations globally. The ATO continues to adapt its economic framework to support both competitive market dynamics and measure protections that safeguard member states, while preserving the alliance's market-oriented foundation. Okay, and what are you? Oh, this is actually in a different city we did not read. We have a new mine. Or newest wine, I can read. The famed dandelion label of Elroy, rooted in rich viticultural legacy of Gilbert of Ribéry, has introduced a new wine. Did we already read this? I feel like we've read this before. Am I crazy? And in Rumburg, Queen Beatrice Livingston appeared on TV to call Sordland not just a threat to peace in Eastern Rakopa, but a threat to peace in the entire world. She condemned the riots and pleads violence in Sordland, and also expresses her worry about the direction that Sordland is heading. She urged the Rumburgian Mill Army to secure the southern border, citing violent incidences in northern Sordland. There's not been like any... Okay, there's been some violence, but it's not been that bad. Also, my glass is like a little dirty. I thought I cleaned them before this stream, but there is like a little something on them. Okay. Well, soon we're gonna see if we want to donate to the Alfonso charity. I mean, I don't see a reason really not to, at least right now. The Alfonso Foundation is known for its philanthropic efforts. It's launching an expansive fundraising campaign and asking for donations. Yeah, sure, why not? We'll donate a small sum. I think that seems reasonable, all things considered. What else? We got two more things in the news. Presidential generosity. President Anton Rayne's recent personal donation to the Alfonso Foundation has elicited a mixed response from the public. While supporters laud the move as an endorsement of the Foundation's efforts to tackle homelessness and income inequality, critics question the president's motives. Detractors also point out the link between Alfonso Foundation and the former President Edward Alfonso. Isn't it his foundation? So the donation may be politically motivated. Is it not his foundation? Okay. Anyways. Charity or camouflage? With the trail of socioeconomic disparities or discrepancies strewn over his tenure, former President Alfonso might think that the establishment of the Alfonso Foundation is sufficient to absolve him of past transgressions. However, this recent received presidential seal of approval via a hefty donation does little more than highlight the ongoing stratification of wealth in Sordland. President Anton Rayne's small contribution to the foundation is nothing short of a misdirection of resource allocation, acting as a smokescreen for the glaring income inequality brought about by the economic liberalization policies of Alfonsonomics. This attempt to brush over the systemic issues with charitable acts is perceived as nothing more than a classic case of millionaire power play. Okay. Okay, and a briefing on educational reform. We are still in Lirin, staying at the modest guest house for state employees. Tiara set up a meeting with me and Lucien to go over her plans for education reform after our school visit. Lucien was seated across from me at the table. Going through documents, Sierra entered the room. After the visit yesterday, I couldn't even sleep thinking about that little boy and girl. I had never been more sure of my intentions to reform our education system. Look, it's like 10 o'clock at night, okay? Lucien took off his reading glasses and put it on the table. I agree. An education reform is necessary. Exactly. These students have to repeat the same soulless propaganda every single day. They are being brainwashed at an age when their minds need to be free. On top of that, young girls are denied the same opportunity as boys. They're forced into a role of housewife before they've even reached puberty. Nothing's changed since I went to school. Women like me, Lilas, Nia, even your wife. We had to study twice as hard to receive the same university education that you and Lucien took for granted. Is that the kind of country you want for your daughter to grow up in? Mr. President, we need to bring change. We need to free the minds of these young people. They are our future. Very well. What do you need for educational reform? We need to keep politics out of the curriculum. Sol should only be viewed as a historical figure. Children shouldn't have to repeat his name every day. This is actively poisoning young, bright minds. Instead of thinking for themselves, they're learning to take things at face value. We also need to ensure that boys and girls receive the same instruction. Handcrafts like knitting and sewing should be taught to both sexes, or not at all. Sordland's youth must be technically skilled and capable for the next decade. That won't be possible with the amount of nationalistic indoctrination and narrow-minded thinking found in schools today. Either we raise a generation ready for the challenges of the future, or not. What will it be, Mr. President? I mean, yeah, well, let's reform. You will not regret it. I will get to work immediately. Now that a decision is made, let's move on. Very well. Tira skimmed over her documents before continuing. After the budget increase, the ministry quickly began formulating plans on how to effectively use the money. But before moving forward, the question of keeping education fully state-funded or allowing for new private schools remains open. Okay, what are the benefits of allowing private schools? I made my opinion clear. I'm against it, but it would give us additional funds for education while increasing competition. It would go against our overall economic strategy, and a few minutes of deliberation passed. We have enough money to improve the education in Sordland. We do not need to complicate things further with privatization incentives. We will keep it as a matter of the state. We prevent interference from private interest. Will do. That should be it for now. I will get back to work and report later. It's been a very productive day. Well, thank you both for your time. We dispersed after spending nearly the entire day together. I took a moment simply to breathe the fresh air of Lirin. I felt calmer here somehow, but I would have to return to the chaos of Haldesword soon enough. Okay. We have some updates here. Education reform, modernized education techniques. We love to see it. Okay, what's going on in the rest of the world? United Katana launches second satellite. In a significant technological milestone, United Katana successfully launched a second satellite capable of facilitating radio communications. This development catapults United Katana to the forefront of space-based communication technology, enabling radio signals to be transmitted via satellite for the first time. No other nation currently possesses this advanced capacity, marking a significant achievement for United Katana. Okay. Am I crazy, or does this look like the northern bit of, like, Labrador? Am I crazy? Maybe a little bit. Okay. Let's read our report. Minister of Education Sierra Walda is reporting that she's begun working on the improved education reform. The details of the education reform will be finalized over the next upcoming months. If the reform package is accepted, the next steps of the process will be to discuss the indoctrination of education. How's it going? I mean, I think things are going pretty well, all things considered. Okay. This week, a decisive intervention by government forces and the police brought a conclusive end to the paralyzing protests in the greater Harleswood region. These actions, albeit necessary, left a tragic tale of casualties and had a profound impact on the economy. The protest leader from Confront voiced the sentiment that of many when he said, "We want peace for our brothers and sisters in Sordland. We do not want more repression." This heartfelt plea underscores the widening chasm between the authorities and the populace. Earlier, the day witnessed a large-scale operation where hundreds of riot police cleared the protesters from northern Harleswood, driving them into the surrounding streets. The question remains on whether this forceful action will quell the rising tide of dissent or merely redirect it. The head of Sordland's second opposition party, the National Front Party, Kessior Kebener, has said that President Rayne will not be able to keep ruling this country without addressing policies that have negatively affected our security, culture, and economy. He blamed President Rayne for not being open to any discussions about proper reforms. Kilber also criticized the PFJ leader, Franz Richter, for supporting President Rayne. The NFP cannot be a part of this nonsensical collaboration anymore, as it has been transformed into an anti-nationalist committee, said Kebener. He also explained his concerns over how the PFJP support Arcasian imperialism and only cared about profit at the expense of the Swedish people. Rayne is making a mistake by working together with Richter, said Kebener, and criticized the committee for not discussing the real issues that surround Sordland. And tens of thousands of demonstrators were driven out of the city centers by riot police in the week. According to ground sources, thousands have been detained. The government has still not declared the real numbers or the identities of the individuals. The government crackdown on the protests around the country was swift and brought an end to the chaos in major cities such as Harleswood and Lakeven. Reports from mayors around the country came in today saying that the protests are under control and that stability will return. Okay. We got rural development investment. The growing rural development investment is a proposal by the Rural Development Minister Gus Manager to bolster Sordland's rural economies and secure the nation's food sustainability. The plan envisions a judicial allocation of resources to vitalize agricultural communities, fortify food security, and elevate the regional economy of Gruni. One potential strategy is the provision of subsidies for new farms, encouraging more players into the agricultural fields. Alternatively, Manager proposes an investment in mechanization for existing farms to improve productivity, or the innovation of crop research to foster innovation. Let's mechanize existing farms. I think that seems reasonable, and also it's not too expensive. In a bold move, the government has opted to invest in the mechanization of existing farms as part of the Gruni Rural Development Investment Plan. This initiative aims to bolster productivity and could help secure our food supplies. While the transition may be challenging for traditional farming communities, it is a step towards modernizing our agricultural practices. Fantastic. So what's the economy looking like right now? It's only now 1 point. Could be worse. Once again, I'm a lot brighter than I was just a second ago. It's because the exposure, for one reason or another, keeps resetting, and I don't know what's that about. Okay. So what's going on? We got a meeting with Gloria Tori on planned reforms. Now I'm actually a little dark. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I arrived at the Grand National Assembly, which is only a 5-minute drive away from the palace. Today, I had a private meeting with Gloria Tori, one of the leading figures of the USP, to get her approval for the proposal. She'd also key in reaching 150 signatures to propose the new constitution, as she had extensive control over our party's conservative and moderate wings. As we walked through the corridors of the Grand National Assembly, I was confronted by members of by my memories of the historic building. Despite being a member of the Assembly not long ago, it now felt like the distant past. I walked into the left wing of the Assembly, which currently acted as the quarters of the USP. Gloria's office was the first one inside. I knocked on the door and entered. Good morning, Mrs. Tori. It's good to see you here, Mr. Rayne. It was a small, neatly organized office. There was small figurines, photos, and plants around the place. It had a homey feel, unlike my own assembly office when I had worked there. On her gesture, I took a seat. The chair was very uncomfortable. They're going to kill me. They think I'm in Disco Elysium. They're going to give me the chair that kills me. Also, I accidentally got rid of my chat. My bad. They're putting me on the murder chair. I'm going to take like -1 health. Die instantly. You know what? I love what you did with The Office. She smiled. A woman's touch, they call it. Like men cannot have a sense of tidiness or style. Which might actually be true. Anyway, let's keep this simple, Mr. Rayne. We both know why we're here. You want me to give you my support. I don't see why the backbone of the USP would support your rush reforms. Don't you realize they go directly against the wishes of the founder of this party and the state? The reforms are very critical for the future of Sordland, Miss Tori. I mean, I'm kind of thinking 3. I wouldn't mind. Now there's like delay. Now it's actually bothering me. I'm kind of leaning towards 3. Like maybe, but that's like darker, man. I don't know. We'll just keep it on auto exposure. Maybe it'll figure itself out. It's fine. Anyways, not against anybody. See, this is like begging, and I don't want to beg here. So I think we're going to have to take 3. I think it's really the only choice we actually have. They're very critical for the future of Sordland, Miss Tori. They're certainly critical for destroying what our party has worked so hard to build. Even though you owe everything to Colonel Soul, I think you never liked him, nor the party that he built. Nothing personal. There's something personal about this, Mrs. Tori. Whatever you intend to do, you'll be facing quite the opposition. That's all I can say. I'm sure we can make a deal. I'm not so sure about that, especially when you're trying to decrease the electoral threshold. You must know this will mean bringing the communists into the assembly. You probably had to deal with either them or maybe the PFJP. Friends seem to be positive about giving you support too. Not the, you have no deal with anyone. I don't have any deals. I have no deal with anyone. I don't know how your acts can be justified inside the USP. I do not support the election threshold of 8%. This is a dangerous situation for us, as both the WPP and the CPS will gain more power. I'd rather leave the threshold as it is. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world to maybe leave this as, will ensure your support. Okay, let me just take a look at this for a second. Vetoes, the thresholds. I mean, I feel like 8% is still fairly reasonable. I'm going to stand up to my principles on this one, at least. That's too bad. You still want our support. I don't know if I can promise anything before I see action from you, especially with all these issues you're creating for the party. You should at least remove the changes to member honor laws, or there'll be no further discussion. You can't just target our founder and expect our support. If it's not, if this point is not removed, expect a grand opposition. You know what? Fine. We will, I will take out... We'll keep Soul being where he is. Great. Now we can start talking for real. I must say that I like the changes regarding the appointment ministers. That's one positive aspect. But moving on. You took a look at the proposal. You know what? I believe I can give you the help that you require. She positioned herself on the chair. Just don't forget, Mr. President. The Conservatives will be expecting a lot from you. I'll be expecting a lot from the Conservatives as well. You know, it's tit for tat. I can get you the signatures needed for the proposal. I'll talk to the other Conservatives. I hope there won't be any surprises, though, Mr. President. You know what? I don't think there's anything she needs to be concerned about. I'll hold you to that promise. Of course, I can't guarantee that all the Conservatives of the party will vote for your constitutional change. I have serious reservations about privatizing healthcare or the Swordfish State Corporation. The support of my faction can change. And that will depend on some extent of your policies, but the signatures, at least, are as good as gathered. You know what? What makes you concerned? I am concerned about the oligarchs and the state of our economy. I'm worried that they may influence you on for their own benefit. We expect you to succeed where Alfonso failed in resisting their siren call. If you start privatizing healthcare or state-owned corporations, I doubt I can help you. I am not Alfonso. I know, and that's why I want you to see you succeed. She stood up. I believe I made myself clear. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. President. I hope that you will hold on to your promises. She extended her hand for a handshake. And once I shook her hand, she immediately sat back down. But now I need to get back to my duties. If you will excuse me, Mr. President. Goodbye, Miss Tori, and thank you. She responded with a nod as I left her office. The conservative side was handled, but to get the 150 signatures I still will need to deal with Albin Clavin of the reformist wing. I went outside. Sergei drove me back to the palace, where I met Lucien and told him of the progress that I made with Gloria. See, I am a great politician, okay? I need to, I hate that. I don't know if it's like the camera or what, but, I like do like this and like make it like more bright, so also like de-exposure me. My interaction with Gloria are more hostile because my reforms are more democratic. That's because I'm a real centrist believer.